This is chapter 1 of Mary Aiken's book, The Cyber Effect, called The Normalization of a Fetish. In this chapter, Dr. Aiken talks about how cyberspace can lead people to be more adventurous, to take more risks. Why would we do that? We can fall prey to the illusion that cyberspace is safer than real life. We can tell ourselves that we're not really actually interacting with other people, or the interaction is actually safer because we're not in the same room or the same building or even the same town as people we're interacting with. So our instincts as humans were developed and honed for the real world, and cyberspace lacks many of the cues that we use to make informed decisions about our own behavior and our actions, such as the facial expressions of others, their body language, and the physical spaces between us. We can be anonymous online, or at least feel like we're anonymous, and this is often an illusion. Also, we can be disinhibited by the conditions of cyberspace, the lack of authority, the anonymity, and the sense of distance between ourselves and others. So things like selfies and sexting are examples of behaviors that can occur as a result. People feel more comfortable being bold and explicit. This is part of the online disinhibition effect. There's also the problem of online escalation, the cyber effect. Problems become bigger, more amplified. Things like flaming other people and aggressive emails, or, even though she doesn't mention it in this chapter, she is referring to trolling. These problems occur when we are unaware of the impact of technology on our behavior. In this chapter, she talks about people with a fetish or a paraphilia. So whenever technology comes in contact with an underlying predisposition, the cyber effect can take hold, the amplification or escalation of behavior. This amplification can be benign or positive, like getting more deeply involved with music or a hobby or intellectual pursuit. On the other hand, someone who is a stalker in real life typically focuses on one victim. Online, however, this stalker can target multiple victims because technology makes that possible. In this chapter, Dr. Aiken tells the story of Jordan Haskins, who was arrested for trespassing and engaging in what's called cranking, which is masturbating in a car with spark plug wires pulled and crackling. He learned about this online. This is one aspect of the dark side of the digital world that opens up when we go online. So traditionally, historically, from the anthropological literature, small carved objects from indigenous cultures believed to be imbued with supernatural powers are called fetishes. A fetish means, in psychological terms, a strong compulsion or desire for a particular condition or activity. Sigmund Freud argued that fetishes originated with arrested psychosexual development. That is, psychosexual development that had terminated prematurely, terminated before full psychosexual, adult levels of psychosexual development had developed. There's a symbolic transformation that occurs when an object becomes imaginatively endowed with the power or essence of its owner. The fetish is a self-object, or an object that represents a significant other, usually a parent. Some say fetishes are similar to obsessive-compulsive disorders, and conditioning reinforces a fetish and the obsessions of the person who has the fetish. Haskins had been arrested as a juvenile for breaking into cars and joyriding, a thrill he perhaps wanted to relive. The growing number of websites including YouTube, that cater to sexual fetishes involving cars is a sign that this is an escalating trend. Fetishes can be created in laboratory settings using images paired with sexual scenes. These images and scenes are played out over and over on the internet. More recently, paraphilia has been adopted to describe a range of atypical behaviors that include fetishes. In our own recent history in the U.S., a number of prominent politicians have been summarily dismissed from their careers due to inappropriate or criminal online or fetishistic activity. Congressman Anthony Weiner, Congressman David Vitter, and New York Governor Eliot Spitzer are just three recent examples. The actor David Carradine died of autoerotic asphyxiation, which is also called hypoxiphilia. The DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of the American Psychiatric Association, describes a variety of disorders in this category: exhibitionistic disorder, fetishistic disorder, frotteuristic disorder, pedophilic disorder, sexual masochism disorder, sexual sadism disorder, transvestic disorder, and voyeuristic disorder. But all fetishes exist on a continuum, like almost all human behaviors, normal and abnormal. A fetish is considered a disorder if it provokes intense recurring fantasies, and if partners are obligated or coerced to participate, or if it causes significant subjective distress in the person with the fetish. Public figures with careers that thrive by amplifying their presence online are probably more exposed and are more noticeable.